Hello, it's me. Sorry I'm late. I had to run to CVS last minute to get something for my daughter. And no one's here yet anyway. And what was I gonna say? Blah blah blah. So I had to get something for my daughter. Run and then I'm the only one here with my kids right now, and my one daughter and my husband are out at the pool, and so I had to settle everybody else up before I could come on here and be uninterrupted. Say hello. Let me put my list up. Let's see, I've got Debris. And my computer was acting weird, so then I had to restart it and make sure it was all, hopefully it's all less grumpy now. Say hello. Hello. Who's here? Say hello. Okay, so again, stupid. I hate this mirroring thing and I don't know how to fix it. Hi, Regine. How are you? Hi, Anne-Marie. How are you? I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it Irish or Scottish? Hi, Jocelyn. How are you today? So, whatever. All right. So I guess, Regine, if you want to go, if you're here, you're here. I was surprised to see Debris today. Just because I haven't seen her in a while. Let's see what's new. I'm like, what's new with me while I'm waiting for you guys to catch up and type. So I'm doing, I don't know if you guys know this. Some of you may know this, that I've been doing ice skating lessons. And there's that my coach has there's another woman and I she's much better than I am, but she's roped us into maybe doing some synchro ice skating team. I don't even know. I'm going to go to a clinic on Wednesday night. I get myself in these situations, and not because I'm not afraid to say no, but I'm also I don't want to say no to myself. I want to give myself opportunities. Right. But when I became a reverend, I didn't become a reverend because I actually wanted to be a reverend. I just wanted to learn and take these classes because of the way he taught the Bible from a non-religious aspect and more, it was interesting to me. So I was like, okay, I want to learn about that. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'll do some church services. Not even. And so now I'm doing these ice skating lessons, and literally I've had six. And okay, Regina, I'll give you. So I had 6, and then she's like, I mean, we have these synchro, and I'm like, wait, what? And she said, we're doing stuff that they would do, and I'm like, there was one thing. It's it's a lunge, so what you think of when you do a lunge, but it's on the ice, and you're supposed to get your foot down on the ice, and then your knee. And I was like, I don't know if my legs are strong enough to do that yet on ice skates. I can do them on solid ground, clearly. But I was like, I don't want my knee to slam, so I might be buying some. I don't know. We're going to see what kind of craziness happens here. So, okay. I am good otherwise. And then I'm working on, we're going to be doing some rebranding. So I'm not sure that I'm going to have the butterfly anymore. I'm thinking that might go away. My colors may change, and then offering some different things. I'm working with somebody who specializes, who's a marketer, who works in marketing. She has her own marketing agency. And we're seeing if we can she's going to help me because I've taken myself as far as I can go on my own. And it's time for my business to grow because I've been doing it for too long to just let it be what it is. Not that you aren't enough, but I'm certainly capable of more. So, okay, Anne-Marie, sorry, I'm rambling. I'm going to do, these are paid readings. They're $12 a reading, and 30% I donate to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. If you want a free reading from me, The only way to really get a free reading is if you follow me on TikTok. And there on Thursdays at 1 o'clock, I do an hour free of readings, but I don't guarantee that you get a reading there. This one, you guaranteed you get your reading. That's how you can get, this is like, otherwise, like other than the free one, this is the cheapest opportunity. And then there's the $20 email reading, which they're all just as good. It's just, all right, hang on. Jen, I'm reading your email because Jen has a question. So I get sidetracked. I'm kind of like squirrel. So I might do that. Just stay with me and hang out. So if you're not sure and you're on the fence, if you want a reading with me, just sit and watch and see how I do. Regine's been with me for a while, and thank you for explaining that. I had a feeling you didn't when you said you, Jen, in the email you said that you didn't mean any yelling. I took it as that. I could really feel your upsetness, and sometimes because I can feel people's upsetness, I almost feel responsible. That's one hard thing that doing these readings is when you're don't necessarily get, you're not as clear or not as accurate as you want to be because you're reading a possibility. But then if somebody makes a choice, all of a sudden it throws the possibilities into a different direction. So, but I appreciate that you taking the time to write that. Okay. So I will answer your question in a minute. All right, Regine, you want a general reading? I'm still feeling kind of off in your kidneys this week. Did you get your numbers done? You said recently you're supposed to or something. Um, I'll tell you why I feel off. It doesn't necessarily feel. I don't. I'm reticent to say you're dehydrated because I know the fluid level balance is so very delicate with your condition. But what I feel like is like I literally feel like an ache in my kidneys is the way it feels, and it's like in the back where my kidneys would be, and I almost feel like I also feel like a feeling of like anxiety and wanting to cry. Um, I feel like the stuff with the work situation has really like added some extra stress for you. And so it's like, I'm not trying to like, I don't want to scare you because it's not scary. It's just, I think it's adding a little bit more stress to your body, which is actually going to show up a little bit more in your kidneys. Is this fixable? Absolutely. It's treatable. It's not something where it's like, that's why I'm like, I'm not trying to scare you by saying this because I don't feel like it's scary. I just feel like it needs to be really intentional for you. Just feel comfortable crying and like letting out some of that stress and anxiety that you're feeling, and also find ways to relieve the stress. Like you can't fully change the situation. Um, I don't feel like he's going to stay close forever. I know that does that make sense? You're waiting on the results. Okay. I don't think they're terrible. I just think that like the numbers are a little bit worse than they were. Yeah. So it's like I can just feel that kind of catching up with you. So I'm asking you for you if you can find ways to just cry. Like it's okay to be like, we get so worried when we believe in manifesting or praying or whatever, and we're like, but I'm doubting if I cry. I'm doubting if I like let myself break down. And that's not the truth. The truth is that if you don't acknowledge that negative thought or that fear or whatever, you just bottle it up and you're constantly fighting it. It's like I discovered when I I hope my kids don't watch this. So, um, I discovered that the easiest way for me to do this was to like break up with them basically, because then I could have that conversation when I got the feeling of needing to have this. I had that opportunity to have a conversation and sort of be like, no, you're not really good for me. Like, this isn't going to work itself out this way. So it feels like if you don't acknowledge it, you're just like pushing it aside and it's still like, hey, hey, hey. Like it's like beating down at your door. Like, because you feel like if you somehow acknowledge it, that you're doing something negative and you're not. So it feels like it would be really beneficial if you just allow yourself to cry or freak out when you need to, and then be like, you can decide to have the belief system. Even if I freak out or cry, it doesn't mean that my manifestations aren't coming, or that I don't believe that I'm safe, taken care of, or that I'm safe. I got your NC, I got your payment. I came up. It just feels like if I don't acknowledge it, then I'm, fighting it. And I struggle with that sometimes too. So it's not like it's like I'm an old hat at all of it. Like, I try all different techniques and stuff because I think sometimes there's better ways than others. Like the latest ones I did, and hi Jeffrey, I started doing this technique where you visualize before you do something, and it works. It works, but the problem is that we move so much I do, especially on autopilot, especially with the 3 kids, that like I sometimes stop to like pause and like visualize the mundane, so that then when I visualize, like it's sort of training my brain. But one interesting thing I did note was like before I went to the grocery store one time, I visualized myself going in and going shopping and grab myself and walking out. And I saw myself walking out by the flowers. But when I parked and got there, I realized I was actually parked near the other entrance that was away from the flowers. And I was like, oh, I probably won't walk out there. So I guess that's fine, whatever. But then for whatever reason, I got pushed out that exit by the flowers and then just ended up walking back across the parking lot. So I thought that was an interesting, like, little thing to say, like, even when you're in the face of something that could and it was not a manifestation that really mattered, right? Or a visualization that really mattered, but you may think, oh, it's not possible, it won't happen that way. And yet it still did. Something pushed me in the direction to make sure it happened the way I visualized it. So I'm rambling. So what I'm saying is, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to feel those emotions. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to stop your manifestation. Like, even with Jen, even though this hiccup came up with Matt, you could still manifest him back in. Like, it's not just because it looks on the outside that it's not possible, or, that you have all those big emotions around it, doesn't mean it's not possible. So I do feel like your numbers are going to come back and they're going to be a little bit less great than they were, but I don't want you to feel like, oh my God. I want you to really make sure you're taking time to maybe discuss with your doctor, really, like, what's a good amount of fluids to take? What should I be taking? Like, I don't know if they have, or if I only know hospital version, which is measuring strict INOs, ins and outs. Hi, Cindy. Okay. So I just feel like maybe getting a good number, because I feel like you might be on the little dehydrated side. Talking to him about that, or her, because could be either, or them, because could be non-gender conforming. We do not need to, diminish the importance of that. But I feel like it's important to talk about that and to like really find ways to de-stress, but allow yourself to cry and be upset about the frustration of it. I also feel like, not to say like, oh, he's not going to open it back up and I don't have the faith in it, but I just feel like it wouldn't hurt to like start looking, because I feel like it will help you not feel so stressed out. Like, it gives your brain an activity to move forward, or do more work on with your laundromat. Because I also feel like you're the wisdom that you have, like the experience that you have a lot more experience than you give yourself credit for. Cindy, I got your payment. NC, I got your 2 payments, by the way. Okay. So do you want to hold on to the second question until you're ready, or do you want to do it now? It's up to you. I'm saying this now because I want to see if this comes through, but I feel like KK is going to show up today. I just felt her energy. So we'll see. A mini prediction. Debbie, Regine, Jen. And then I've got NC and Cindy Bowers. You're very welcome. Okay, Deborah, do you have a question? Oh, there you are, my dear. 8 people are interviewing me tomorrow. Oh my God. I heard yes, like literally right away, yes. So I want you to, and I'm going to do it for you tonight too, as well. Just sit like tonight before you go to bed, sit and visualize. If you can't, if it makes you too nervous to sit and like visualize, like walking out of there and be like, I killed it, maybe visualize even coming back on here and be like, I got the job. Like whatever is easy for you. But it's like, I heard yes right away. As soon as I read the question, 8 people are interviewing me tomorrow at 1 for this, I don't know, Y Pro AT&T position. Will I get it? I heard yes right away. It's interesting. So I feel like it's 8 at first, but 2 step away or something, and it becomes less. There's something where it's like there's a shift in it. And so I don't know if it's like they can't stay as long or but I also feel like they make it feel comfortable. Like I don't feel like you feel like you're in, doing a huge dissertation or something like that. So that's why I said I feel like they might meet you at once and then step away. So I don't know exactly how that works. I don't know. What I saw was like I feel like there's like initially there'll be the 8 people, like maybe you're introduced to all of them and then it's stepped away, it's separate somehow. So it won't be all at once. But and it may not even be that they all 8 interview you. I do feel you'll meet the 8 people though. If that makes sense. But what I feel like is really important is to do the visualization. I even sometimes started doing, I found like I do visualization before I sit down and do the readings, just like an athlete might visualize like doing certain moves or whatever, like to visualize doing the readings and like, oh, my client had a great experience, that kind of stuff. What it might be even when I'm getting, because I'm getting like 8 and 6, like I'm getting like the 2 and the 6. So it may be like all 8 meet you, the 2 step away for sure. So I don't know that I think they just might meet you and not interview you. And then it might be not all at once, but the 6 others are who you meet with. Listen to me. You are fabulous. You can go in and do this. They're just think of them as like, of course I've got this. They're just people. And really most people hire on like, they're happy to train people as long as you have a nice personality. Like people want to work with nice people and they're willing to train nice people. Maybe Jen can correct me on this if I'm wrong. Like obviously you want somebody who's sort of qualified, but I think that they would take somebody who seems warm and congenial. And they have to train the skills over someone who is like, feels like an ice cold bucket and maybe totally up to par or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but so even if you don't have the full skills yet, I think you need to not worry about it because you're a good person. You're a director of talent acquisition. I hire people all the time. You weren't going to do it? What? Go do it. Go do it. Jen asked, what level of a role are you interviewing for? You have to go do this. If anything, so I have a friend whose son is in acting, and he, like, he gets told no a lot. Like, he's not some, and it's like, it's not always like for reasons that we think it is. Like, it's not like, oh, he's not talented. It's just like, oh, it's just not quite the look they're looking for, right? It's data entry. She's, and I say to him, I was like, sometimes it's not about this job. It's about like them seeing you for the next job. That explains the 8 people. It's a team interview. I still don't think it's all 8. I don't know. I don't know any of that. I got interviewed by a manager in nursing. That was it. Like every time I got, well, let me see. Was she a manager? No. Lead plus team. It's always the one you don't want to do that you end up getting. So maybe it is seeing about, like I said, it's the personality thing. It just feels like they want to see if you get along with the team. And you, listen, you're going to do fine. I really believe that in you. If they didn't think you were a good candidate, they wouldn't. I personally don't feel, and maybe I'm wrong about this again, I don't think that they would bother bringing in all those people to interview you. That feels more like logic. It's a culture ad, which means they just want to make sure you get along with the team and they're fine, training you. The goal is to be authentic no matter what, right? So, I missed my haircut appointment last month because my daughter wasn't well, and she's basically, if you miss your appointment, you're not going to see her for another month. So I think my hair just needs a cut. Not that you care. Anyway. Authenticity resonates. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and expertise, Jen. Also, Jen, you'll be proud of me because I'm giving over some responsibility to allow somebody else to do some work for me. Like, literally going to be moving my website to a different platform. And I'm letting somebody build it for me. So be proud. I don't know. We all have room for growth. Okay, so hang on. I've got a payment from Jocelyn. Okay. All right. So I think then we have Debbie, if you or not Debbie, Regina, if you want to jump in here with a question, let me know. Debbie, I'm so excited for you. Jen, let's answer your question. And then I've got, hang on, let me see. I've got a couple. I want to add Jocelyn to this. Listen, I think part of it is I've been listening to that hypnosis thing, and that's like sort of allowing me to know, I don't know, it's, getting me over some of my trust issues. But also I recognize that like there's some stuff that it's like I can do some, but I need, sometimes it's okay to ask for help and pay for help. Invest in yourself. Hi, Allie. Okay. Jen, let's look at your question really quick. Offering you an update on Matt. Is he doing his process or its overall energy? And do you see an exchange of communication coming perhaps in July or something? So I asked it this way because I'm like, I literally just said, what's he doing? And I heard avoiding. It feels like an intentional need to keep himself busy with his kids really more than anything. I'm leaning more towards like, so it was funny. It was like July or something. And I'm leaning way more towards the or something. August feels more appropriate. And I don't know that. I don't understand this because it's like, I don't feel like he has a drinking problem, but it's a feeling of, when somebody goes to a 12-step program, they reach, I don't know which step it is, where they make amends with people. It feels like something happens where he feels like he needs to make amends. Okay, Allie. So I don't know exactly what happens. Again, it's like, I don't feel like he has an alcohol problem, but there's a feeling of the way it is when someone gets sober and does that. Does that resonate when I say that to you? Like he doesn't really have a drinking problem. The other part might not resonate, but and it's not that it's like it's interesting because by that time, it's not that I feel like you've necessarily moved on, but I feel like you've made this decision to just not be so and not absorbed, but so concerned with it. Like you're sort of just doing your own thing and focusing on yourself at that point. So it's not, I don't know to necessarily like not dating anybody else. Like I don't feel like it's necessarily that. Or that you're necessarily dating anybody else. It's just a feeling of like focusing on yourself. And so it's kind of, it's not as attached to it as the way you are right now. He doesn't drink. Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, I don't feel like he drinks, but it's the feeling of someone like when they go through a program, he makes amends. Okay. Cause I was like, it's weird. I'm getting it like he's going to make amends like you would in a drinking program, but he doesn't. I don't feel like he has an alcohol thing. I do, but I feel like it's a little bit like I feel like you're kind of at that point. It's not like you're like, I would never let him in again, and it's not like I feel like you've fully moved on to another relationship. It just feels like when it happens, you're sort of just focused on yourself and doing your own thing and not even. So it feels, I would lean more towards August than July. And I have to tell you, even if he doesn't believe in all of this woo woo stuff, he's very intuitive, even if he denies it. Like my friend Tony, who's an astrologer, he's very gifted. His wife doesn't really think she's gifted at all. She's very, very psychic. Yeah, build up your own activities. So it feels like he's actually very in tune with you. And at the point where you're sort of just focused on yourself and doing your own thing, it's almost like he feels that pull of your energy where you pull your energy away. Listen, you could start ice skating lessons. It's never too late. And get roped into maybe being on a synchro beginners ice skating team. we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'll take video of myself doing this. Excuse my yawn. NC, did you make another payment, or maybe the email came in late? I think that's what it is. Like everything is just behind. Your energy feels better now than it did before. Like the last time you were on here, it was really like where I was like, not that you're mean or anything, I just felt like, oh no. Hi, Larry. Welcome. How are you? His daughter's birthday is in August, so maybe that's what kind of spurs it. See, this is weird. Like, I must have had some weird, because all of a sudden I've got all this typing coming through. It's like it's catching up. Okay. I think I've got, and then Allie and Cindy I need to add to. Wait, I've got Cindy. Cindy, did you? No. Okay, I need to add Allie and Jocelyn. I bet you will if I'm picking up August and it's her birthday, like weird. August 2nd is popping up, but initially when I was feeling, I felt something like maybe like August, maybe just slightly closer to September. Who's Craig? Oh, his father. That's right. Okay. Oh, let me. Hi, Rothka. I feel like we have a full room today. Welcome, friends. Okay. NC, if you want to ask your questions. I can't, I don't know. I need a haircut. I need a haircut, and I need to figure out how to not mirror this stupid thing, or how to mirror it, because it's not mirroring and I don't like it. Oh, you posted him above. No problem. Oh, I see him. Here we go. I have a YouTube channel where I got 3,000 subs. God bless you. And then I stopped for a long time. I want advice from Spirit about building this. Been experiencing depression and boredom. Any advice? Okay. So I'm like, 3,000, you got something good. It's interesting because I just feel the way they're making me feel like they're like, just pick it back up again. It feels like pick it back up, but like where if you were like doing one video a week before, it feels like do a little bit more than that, just at the beginning, so it starts kind of reactivating things. And then also do the community posts, like do things that are kind of good, pull people back in that way. But it doesn't feel like it's like going to take that long. It just feels like, because I feel like whatever you're doing, it's really palatable to other people, meaning like psychic stuff isn't necessarily mainstream. And I don't do all the tarot readings or the like pick a card type stuff, which is like really easy to pull somebody in because, you know, like they don't have to pay for anything, that kind of thing. Nobody has to put anything on the line. Like you don't have to put yourself out here at all, like if you're doing those things. So it feels like those are much more palatable. So it feels like whatever you're doing, it feels like it's more mainstream. But it does feel like I feel like on this channel specifically, posting like twice a day. I even feel like actually you should take those long formats and then break them up and put them onto other platforms, like make them a reel, like edit part of that out and make it a reel or make it a TikTok. But it feels like for maybe a couple of months, having a couple of videos a week is important. Just being consistent. And I also feel like making in like the little community posts, like connecting with people, sending out a poll, that kind of thing, or saying like, hey, I'm back. I've been gone for a little bit, but going back, you do two a day, like 2 YouTube videos a day. Then maybe you need to go back to 2 a day. Like it just feels like, because I was seeing the 2, I'm like 2, so maybe it needs to be a 2 a day. So I almost said every day, but a lot of YouTube people don't want to do that many. But I also feel like going back to some of your old videos and making little comments or whatever, so people see that you're active, like either responding to somebody else who's commented or whatever, like to pull them back in to see that you're active again. Oh, you do 2 zodiac signs a day. Okay. Oh, because you're doing card reading. So it's something that everybody wants to do. Is that it? Oh no, zodiac signs are not, they're not card readings, are they? It just feels like doing that, going back to that, just starting up and being consistent again. It's not a feeling of like, oh, you need to do something totally different or not the same. But also making the community post feels important. You do card readings. How did I come up with that? Some people do, like, it's really palatable. It's easy to get. Yeah, I don't feel like it's going to be anything where you're going to be like, I can't get it back really easily. Oh, thank you for your sweet comment, Helen. I appreciate you. Um, oh, who paid it via e-check? Oh, it's Jocelyn. Okay. For these ones from the future, try not to play firm for e-check because it takes like a week to get the money. And I feel like, okay. So that's what I'm feeling. Like it doesn't feel like it's this, I don't feel like it's going to be as hard as you think it is. I feel like it's going to be a lot easier than you think. It just feels like maybe like intentionally getting engagement. So doing the community post, maybe doing like a poll or what would you like to see? Something like that. Now, then you were asking, let me go back up. Depression and boredom, any advice? The very first thing I thought of was if you're vitamin D deficient. Um, I also feel like it's really important for you to get outside and be more connected to nature because I feel like there's something in that, like it becomes like if you go for a walk outside or whatever, it becomes like a walking meditation for you where you actually connect with source better that way. Your mom's vitamin D deficient. Yeah, that was like literally the first thing I got. I was like, oh, I feel like you're vitamin D deficient. It feels like that becomes like a walking meditation and it becomes a way for you to connect with source where it's like, I actually feel like when you try to sit down and do meditation, you get distracted really easily. Your brain kind of gets scattered and you get pulled away really easily. And it just feels like it's really important for you to do it differently. It's through that like walking meditation that you get inspired ideas. And the boredom is really just because your brain's not being challenged enough. I do really feel like you need a little bit more physical activity. So like you would have been the kid who, if you weren't active and physical, it was harder for you to fall asleep at night. And I just feel like this is like the boredom is your brain, your brain needing more physical activity. So instead of doing it as like a sit down meditation, it feels like needing to do it as a walking meditation. So go for a walk and don't listen to anything except for nature. Like, don't wear headphones and listen to something. And that's not like, because I'm like, it just feels like it's really important for you to like not have to just pay attention to the trees and nature and the sounds of the birds and things like that. And look up symptoms of vitamin D deficiency and see if it kind of resonates with you. But our brain, our body needs vitamin D, obviously. But it affects us in so many different interesting ways that I never realized until I started researching it a little bit. I literally mentioned not even an hour ago to my friend, I felt like I needed vitamin D. You're very welcome. What's your channel? Maybe you can kick up some of your subscribers from people here. Just saying. You guys are welcome to share channels there. I don't care. I don't believe in competition. I don't think it exists. I think there's enough for everybody. I'm writing. I'm waiting. I'm going to be writing it down. Or unless you're too nervous about that. Oh, okay. Anna Kiso. Okay. Is it hashtag? By the way, if you're really old, that's known as pound sign. Okay, wait, I have to tell you this because I think it's funny. We went to in the town over from ours, there was like a cover band tribute like thing they'd been playing. They had different bands play all day long. So like there was a band who did Sade and Beyonce and Taylor Swift and Harry Styles. And there's some other ones, but then there was like a Grateful Dead cover band and a Allman Brothers cover band. We were sitting down. Two of my daughters were with us because my oldest is, again, pissed of her autism. She's like, it's just too much with the crowds and the noise and stuff. And it's like sensory overload for her. So we just went for a little while and we were sitting down on the curb, on this little curb, because it was in a big parking lot. And we were like, my daughters were eating and my husband was eating and I wasn't, because I can't eat a lot of foods out. It's not a big deal, whatever. But like this little tiny dog, this little white dog, her name was Cindy, came over and she weighed probably 5 pounds at most. She was this little friendly, like 10 feet away. Her owner was sitting, was a whole group of women. And she just like wandered over us and was like, just like she knew us forever. We were old pals. And 13 years old, I swear to God, I thought she was a puppy. She was so like vibrant and sweet and not a yippy dog, nothing. But it was really funny because I was like, oh, what's her name? And they said Cindy. I was like, oh, like Cindy Brady? And they were like, no, like Cinderella. And I was like, oh, they don't even get the reference. Like, I'm too old. So Tillin, these are paid readings. They're $12 a reading, and I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. If you want a free reading, head over to my TikTok and follow me over there. I go live over there and do free readings over there on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time, but I don't guarantee you get a reading over there. So it's just sort of if I'm drawn to it. That's how I work those ones. Oh, you wrote Annika. So, oh, I'm waiting for NC's. You're not going to give us your page. That's okay. I won't take it. I won't bug you about it. Anyway, I just thought it was funny. Nobody got the reference for the Cindy Brady, the Brady Bunch. Okay. So when people say, you don't look 45, I'm like, oh, but I have the TV past. Cindy's are cool. She was so cute. She was like just this little, I think she was probably a Maltese, just this little dog, very sweet. And all the Malteses I've ever met before, just kind of like sour pusses. So she was just a sweet pea. Okay. So Cindy, what is your question? You're up. And then Jocelyn and Allie and Regine, whenever you want to hop in with your second question, you are more than welcome to. And NC, if you want to share your channel, I'd be happy to subscribe. Not that you need my little measly old subscription, but I would do it. And thank you for following me and my trusting my little channel. Lately, I've been feeling kind of off. Oh, Cindy, where's your question? Okay, hold on, Allie, because you've got a couple people ahead of you. Oh, there's a breakthrough for you, Allie. I can't wait to do yours. I want to start therapy groups and wanted to know when they'll be successful. No worries. Cindy, did I not do a reading for you a while ago and I said I saw you doing therapy groups, like group therapy? I think I did. I'm almost positive. I'm looking to decrease individual caseload and increase groups. Okay, so let's look at I don't feel like you really make the jump or like real push for them until August. So I feel like you'll do a little bit of work on it here in June, kind of putting it together. But I feel like July feels very like there's nothing happening in July. It just feels like I feel like I can't feel July is the best way for me to put it. It's just not there. So to me, it's like it's not really out on the forefront. So August, I feel like, is when you start it. September will do better. I almost feel like this is what's interesting is like you might think of like a therapy group. It feels like it's got like rolling registration, meaning I don't feel like they have to sign up for a 6-week chunk. I feel like they can kind of come in when they're ready, like, and they just ease right in. And I don't know how that works, however you set it up. So it feels like it starts to increase more. So like if I start at the beginning of August, I feel like I get more traffic back in September. And I think a lot of that just has to do with vacations and people being away, kind of not settled. 1,000% work smarter. But it feels like it doesn't feel like it just feels like somehow people can roll it. Like they don't have to just start when they start. It's like people are welcome to join whenever because of the way the program is set up. You can hop in whenever and start. But it doesn't feel like, this is what's interesting. It doesn't feel like I start and then I stop and I start and I stop. It feels like you can join whenever, but under the understanding that like, yeah, kind of like an open group, but with the understanding that like the more consistent you are, the better you do. And the better it is for the group energy too. So I don't know if you say that somewhere in your bylaws of joining the group, but that's what it feels like. I don't know why they're showing me grapes around this, so I don't understand that. Oh, that's a difference. So yeah, it would be like an open group. Hi, guided by my peeps. I also feel like there's either going to be like some kind of workbook or journal or something that goes along with this. And I know it might be slower to build than you want it to, but I feel like it actually gains traction within the community. So I don't know if it's like someone's like, hey, I'm doing this, it's helping this way, blah, blah, blah. And she has a workbook and there's this or that. Like, so they have something to do for the whatever, the next thing. It's almost this feeling of like, I guess it's how like maybe you've got it at like I don't want to say like a 12-step program, but something like that where you have like this journal-y workbook thing. And you could even create it where it's like a download it and do it as you go or whatever I said, Um, but where people come and they're like, I'm working on when they're discussing or whatever, they're like, I'm on this week or I'm on this lesson and this is what I'm learning. And so like maybe there's people who've been through that already and they're like, oh yeah, I struggled with that then and this is what I did. Like so that's they sort of like work from each other is the feeling I get. It's kind of like an AA thing, right? I don't know, but that's what they're showing me. Who am I? I'm frying myself with this heater now, and it's like making me like sleepy. But okay. Jocelyn, I think you're up next. Oh, you have anger management group scheduled. So maybe it's something like that. It comes with a curriculum and workbook. So maybe it's something I have to tell you, I almost feel like it's something around with women and with it. Maybe it's even around like, their self-esteem work and like their inner dialogue. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. My hair is just my hair, right? Okay, sorry. Okay, I wanted to know, do you see or feel me getting pregnant next month, end of July or early August 2024? You're welcome. First of all, I feel like you ovulate in the middle of the month. I don't feel like you ovulate at the end of the month. I don't know why. It's just what I got. So I feel like it would be mid-August. I almost feel like you might ovulate a little bit later than you think you do. Jocelyn, that's for you. You also have a trauma curriculum. And maybe what happens is that becomes around like having a women's group because there is something like I've had people say to me in my psychic circles that like they really appreciated being when it was just women because it felt like there was just it just felt safe to be a little bit more vulnerable and it's women based. Yeah, so maybe that's the one where it is where that becomes like an open meeting instead of So, oh, that's okay. You don't have to ask. You don't have to be apologize to ask. So, guided by my peeps. This is here. I do $12 a question, and I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. If you want a free reading from me, you can follow me over on TikTok. And on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time, I do free readings over there, but I don't guarantee you have a reading over there. When you pay, you get a guarantee that you have a reading. Julie, did you just hear what I said? You're going down to see your significant other in July. I do ovulate later than what one my app might say. Okay. So it just feels like I got mid-August. So maybe that's when the pregnancy test shows up, but I feel like ovulating later than you think. You're welcome, guided by my peeps. Did want to let you know back in March when we spoke on this subject, you told me I would have a baby boy mid 2025, like April. August to September to October. That's still possible, even if you get pregnant in August. That puts you at 8 months. I had my kids at 37 weeks. My body just kicks them out. It's like, you're done being pregnant. So like my oldest, I had 37 in one day, and then my other two were 37 on the dot. So if you're wanting to manifest it, that you're pregnant. You have two boys by C-section. I honestly, I mean, I know people get C-sections. I took care of C-section patients and all of that. I'm grateful that I didn't. My first one, I was actually pushing for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I knew in my head all the times and stuff like that of when they would be like, we need to section you. Like, we can't, like, I knew I was right on the cusp of it. And I was like, and the nurse said something and she's like, she just won't come down. Like, she wasn't dropping. And I was like, can you just give me a few minutes with my body and I just like held my belly and I just started talking to my daughter. And I was like, okay, it's like in my head. And then she came back and she's like, I don't know what you did, but she dropped. I was like, it's fine. Let's just go. So I was on the verge, and thank God I didn't, because that's a tough one to heal from. It's no joke. Okay. All right. Who's next then? We've got Allie. Now you're up, or Regine, if you want to answer, if you want your question answered. So I think I didn't, it was funny. And then when my third, the epidural didn't take. I didn't even also hear it. The first one, I didn't even know I was in labor. I like went into a regular appointment, my 37-week appointment. And she was like, you're 6 centimeters. You know, you're in labor. I was like, no, I did not. I feel like my easy labors make up for my like horrible vomiting for well into my second trimester. Well, like almost to my third trimester. So, and then like horrible reflux and all of that. I feel like I got the, because I got easy labors. But my third one, he put the epidural in, I was like, it's not in right. And the anesthesiologist was like manning. And he's like, oh, that's the way it's supposed to feel. And I'm thinking he's probably never had one. And I just was like, whatever. But then the resident was like, okay, don't, she's like, I said, it's time. My body says it's time. And she's like, well, but you still have a little bit. And I looked at her, I was like, I don't really care what your rules are and what you say. I said, my body said it's time. And it's time. So that's how I know my epidural did not take it all, because with my other ones, I was like, didn't care, whatever, couldn't feel anything. Anyway, enough of this stuff. Who cares about that, right? Okay. So Jocelyn, I can't wait for you to come back later this summer and say, I'm preggo. Not me. Don't want to be pregnant again. 3's good. We're good. Like, no more. We're good. That ship sailed. Okay, Allie, no, I'll go ahead and go back up and look at it. All right. Lately, I've been feeling off, kind of. I don't know if it's because I'm not interested or bored in entertaining people anymore. I feel bad, kind of bad about it, but I'm tired of being treated bad. Lately, I'm more concerned on how I'm being treated and that I'm being more true to myself. I don't know if how going out about things is bad, or maybe I'm just depressed, or is it just abandonment issues? You're welcome, Jocelyn. I'm not 100% sure. I have to tell you because initially I felt like you ovulated and it might be mid-August, but I'm not 100% sure saying positive test or I'm not 100% sure. Um, I'm I'm leaning towards the positive test. You get your cycle mid-July, so it might be mid-August. There you go. I'm happy to be wrong. So maybe it might be a positive test. I don't know. I'm not getting 100% like it's this or this. I wouldn't I'll say this. I won't be surprised if it's a positive test in August. The epidural is relevant for a blind reading you're doing tomorrow. You're welcome. Um, wait, what is a blonde blind reading? What is that, Larry? Um, definitely return again. Your son is graduating this evening. Yay! Congratulations. Go get ready. Don't be late. Okay. We'll see you next week. Um, okay, Allie. That was a lot. What you wrote. What I felt like when I was read the first part of it, I was like, oh, a lot of that's happening where you're just no longer wanting to entertain people, or you're like, this is boring. When you start to change energetically, so when you're working on your self concept, the person will have blonde hair. I was like, we don't. Why is that blonde or slash blind? um. Oh, lots of love to you too. So, when you start really changing your self concept, this is one way you know, like the affirmations and the thought process and looking at things is really working, is when you sort of kind of get bored with the stuff that you were entertaining before. So I have noticed lately, and I think this is a testament to me really like really believing in law of attraction and stuff. I mean, law of assumption, and like really seeing that my thoughts create my reality. Because when you go on, I don't know, like you can find them on here, but it's different on other platforms. Like on TikTok, they'll have like the quick, like general readings. I don't resonate with almost all of them anymore. In fact, I'm sort of, um, I float through them a lot quicker because I'm like, oh, they're just not in alignment with where I'm at. They're not in alignment with who I am. And it's not to say that those people don't have a purpose. And I'm not like trying to like poo poo anybody there. I just think it feeds a different energy that I no longer connect with. Right. So that's why I was like, oh, I'm really excited to talk about this because it's showing you that you have leveled up in a sense. I don't want to call it leveling up because it's not like you're better than your old self. You're just in a different place. And that place is having a better self concept and no longer like, it's like, oh, I don't really need this person's validation for me to feel like whatever. And maybe before you entertain those relationships, because it felt like you were getting some kind of validation back. So I don't think that it's your fear of abandonment at all. I think that it's more about changing your energetic space where you are, and you're in a better energetic space, so you no longer need or resonate with people of that caliber, right? So like, I mean, even the more self work I do, the self concept work I do, it's like I no longer become emotionally triggered by things the way I used to. I don't dive into the emotional um, sway of things as much anymore. Absolutely no idea who she is after that. Oh, okay. I guess like keep me in the dark. That's awesome. Hi, Makiken. Good to see you. So it feels like that to me, Allie. It's like it's just you're actually not in a bad space. You're actually in a really good space. But the thing is when we start to alter and change our energetic level where we are, we sometimes go through. I mean, oftentimes I felt it mine. Every time I start doing some self-concept work and changing or whatever, I kind of go into a little cocoon, energetically speaking. And I don't necessarily, I start to see that I changed my alignment and where I'm at. And it's not a bad thing. It's like, it'd be like looking at a toddler and be like, no, you're supposed to be a toddler forever. It's like, no, they grow and they change and they change their perspective on the world. And as you grow and change, you change the people you're friends with. You change the type of clothes you like or the style of your decorations and stuff like that. And nobody looks at somebody when they do that and go, oh, you're a bad person. But if you decide that you're like done with something new, like riding a bike. Yeah. So, and our anxiety brain, our brain that wants to protect us and like keep doing the same old programming kind of goes, ooh, 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 no, you're changing. Don't do that. But it's okay to do what you're doing. You keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing because you're doing the work beautifully. Like that's a way for you to know when people are like, is it working? Is my manifesting coming? It's like when you shift your mindset, you'll see that things shift. And sometimes it does mean that those things leave. But again, when you change your taste in furniture or whatever, you've never thought like, well, I need to keep this big lazy boy couch, even though I want something more sleek and modern. And but I got to keep the couch. It's like, but no, like that would be asinine. You would have like insane amounts of furniture. Like you have to move some stuff out. Don't be worried. And also when you start to shift out of a people pleasery mode, there is a sense of guilt because you feel like, am I being mean? Am I a bad person because I'm not putting everybody else's needs and whatever ahead of myself? But that goes away. Don't worry. It does. And you just learn like, oh, like it's totally okay for me to like just put me first. So Esther, these are $12 readings, and then I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. If you want a totally free reading from me, you can follow me on TikTok. And on Thursdays at 1 p.m. roughly, sometimes kids are home and I, have to do a couple other things first. But roughly 1 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays, I do free readings over there, but you aren't guaranteed a reading. So where if you pay for one, you're guaranteed a reading. You're co-signing with someone on a house. Okay. And it took me some time to say yes. Oh, this is your second question. When do you see me getting off the mortgage? They were on the verge to lose the house. There's something about 3 years and there's something about 10 years. So I don't know if there's a shift in it, in the contract or in the way your agreements are in 3 years. But in 10 years, I feel like you're totally free of it. And I know that seems like a long time, but it just feels like maybe in 3 years you end up taking over and you're total ownership of it. I don't fully understand it. And I know that might feel like it's putting you somehow in a different, like, what is it, debt to asset ratio, but I feel like it's going to be okay for business reasons. What's the wow part? And I also feel like the reason why it's okay for business reasons, because I feel like when you do the laundromat, like that kind of business on the side, I feel like you're doing that underneath an LLC and not your own personal. Good. I think you should feel very confident about how you're going about things. Allie, you deserve that. That's why I say to people too, a lot of like, when you start doing this work, things do fall away and things change. And sometimes like one client was like, every time I start to do this work, then I like lose a job or something. I'm like, that's because you're no longer in alignment with that space. And that's okay, but it can be scary, right? Um, I mean, I'm going to be having a lot of changes coming up. So I'm just going to hold on to the seat of my pants and go with it and figure out where life takes me, you know? And I'm also going to visualize a lot. And it is hard when there's something like where you're like, I want it to go this direction. I don't want it to go this direction. And as society always says it's going to go this direction, there's no way it could go this direction. And my brain is like, no, but I want it to go this direction. So I have to fight belief systems. So I get it. I've been there with you, Allie, and I believe we sort of always kind of keep going through things. I don't think that we just all of a sudden we figure out manifesting and law of assumption and then everything is perfect. Just because I think the old programming and the continual bombardment that we get about good, bad, evil, and all of that. Sometimes we do outgrow our shoes, indeed. So what was the, oh, wow, Regine. Thank you for all the likes, by the way. Sometimes you guys forget, but I don't ask for it really. So part of my rebranding and everything is like having more content here too. Oh, the 10 years feels like a lot. Yeah. You were thinking 6 months. I don't know why it's that long. I'm happy to be wrong. And maybe my 3 and 10 is months. I mean, I did a reading for my husband's friend once asked me because he was looking for a job and I saw 5. So I assumed 5 weeks because that just seemed 5 days just seemed so like my logic brain jumped in and it was actually 5 days when he would start to get hired or something like that. It wasn't far out. So my 5s were off. Yeah. I mean, I think there's magic all the time, all over the place. And I also think that we do have more power than we realize. And I think the universe just supports you through it. That's what I think. And sometimes when even in those scary moments or when anxiety is taking over and all that, it's sometimes hard to see that, but it still is like this one constant. Okay. Do you guys want to do some general questions and then we'll bounce out of here? Or are you guys ready to go? Sorry, I just wanted to answer this mom question or mom comment. You're very welcome. Okay. Anybody have any general questions? What about the guilty verdict? I mean, he's guilty. I don't think he'll serve time in the way we want him to serve time. There may be some like house arrest time, and that's kind of what I've always felt. Or like an ankle bracelet. I still don't feel like, I'll say this. Oh, so July 11th is his sentencing. What's interesting is there's a woman called Astro Lori on TikTok. She has a history in, I think, finance. But she does like these, she's like so accurate looking at like the planets and things like that. And she said January 11th transits for him are terrible. So I don't think he'll be in an actual prison. Some people say he'll get nothing. It's basically a slap on the wrist. I don't feel that either. But I also know that like I don't feel like he's going to be president. So I just want to say that again. Um, I mean, I want to say this too. Like just looking at logic, it's like to get 34 counts guilty, like every single count was guilty. Not only that, it was like I think maybe 24 hours of deliberation. It wasn't that much. So to get every single one on board, every person on board, because if there's even one person with a shadow of a doubt that that's like that he was in fact guilty of it, like it's not like if there's any doubt at all, they cannot convict him of that, right? But they did every single one. So whatever the prosecutor's case was, it was so solid. And I think he did testimony. I don't know. I didn't pay too close attention to it because honestly, I'm not giving my energy to that man anymore. He refused to. It's just not going to go well for him. Do I have a clearer picture of the election vision? No. The only thing I get with the election is that I don't feel like I feel like there's a third person in there. I don't know. And I don't feel like it's Robert Kennedy. I don't feel like it's him. I don't know who it is. Excuse me. KK! I told you KK was going to show up today. At the beginning of this, I was like, oh, this is weird. I just feel like KK is going to be here today. And I was like, I could feel your energy. It was so interesting. And I was like, I'm saying it now. This is my mini prediction. KK is going to be here today. I actually don't. I mean, I'm not to negate you. I don't feel like there's going to be as much civil unrest as people think there will be. I mean, maybe there's going to be pockets of it, but I don't feel like I'm not as worried about it. Oh, the guilty verdict? I don't know. I think they showed him what's funny is they showed him walking out of I think it was one of the Trump towers. This woman I follow, I happen to come across it. And he's he's waving to his people and they're like, oh, he'll probably have somebody Photoshop people in that are waiting there. There's literally no one waiting outside for him to like cheer him on and say they've got his back. Like his numbers are dwindling in the people that support him. So I don't know. I don't feel that. I don't feel major civil unrest, to be honest with you. And I know there's still a lot of Trumpers, but statistically, there's not as many of them as there are of others. That's just my feeling, and I'm happy to. I mean, I'm always fine to be wrong. I got a huge compliment the other day. I was doing a reading for a client, and she's been my client for a while. And she's not like you're welcome, Regine. She's not like, crazy, she's very level-headed person. And oh, good night, sweet dreams to you. And she was saying how she's done readings with other people that I know that are readers. And she's like, you're really like the best of them. Like you're not, I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, I really only go to readings to you now. And then like one other person, but she's really expensive and she's hard to get into. So I just do like once a year there. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, this woman, Lisa Williams. I'm like, do I know Lisa Williams? Are you kidding? Yes. It's like, I felt like she was like putting me up there with her. I felt so good about that. So I'm not worried about as much of the civil unrest around him. I feel like more eyes are watching sort of what's happening with what's going on in the Middle East and what's happening on our college campuses where kids are getting, young adults are getting silenced and using their, right to protest. our constitutional right. So I think more eyes are on that right now, kind of what's going on with that, rather than, I just feel like he's such a nothing burger at this point. I actually would not be surprised if he fell ill. Hi, Tiffany. How are you? It's been a while. How is everybody? So if anybody else wants to ask like a general, you're okay, you guys? Hi, Francis. How are you? Is anybody else want to ask a general question? Otherwise, we can say goodnight and I will see you next week. If you want to follow me here, follow me on TikTok. I'm do more over there. I'm a little, any insights on the wildfire in California. Do you know what's interesting? I don't even know how it started, but I saw that. Do you know anything about the Chicago fires? How there's this old story that went around about Mrs. O'Leary's cow, that Mrs. O'Leary's cow knocked over a lantern and it caught the barn on fire, and that started the Chicago fire. It feels like something like that started it. So it doesn't feel intentional. I don't necessarily feel a lightning strike, but it feels like there was something where it was like accidental. I saw the other night. So I want to say this is all I know about it. I saw like a video of somebody filming it live and they're like, oh, they're up on the roof trying to save the roof. But I didn't look further into it. I feel like by Thursday, they've got it mostly out or encapsulated. Like it just feels like it looks like a fire ring to me rather than, or like a burn ring to me, I guess is what I want to look at. Like more like when they do a controlled burn, how it will look like a burned out circle area. And then it's like, there's maybe a little bit here and there, but it's not spreading anymore. That's what it feels like to me. Like they've got it contained. But they said there's going to be more fires. I just got weird, like they can't help themselves is what I heard, but I don't know what that means. So, oh, there's definitely going to be a first woman president in Mexico. As my mom would always say, Mexico. Oh, you're in Michigan. We had a fire on the same magnitude as Chicago. It was in the 1880s. And think we had a two within a year or so of each other. Yeah. Okay, Naif, I'm going to do your reading, but then I'm done doing personal readings. So just so you know, I'm done doing personal readings. Francis, these are paid readings, but I'm done doing the personal readings right now. I'm just doing this like general section. So if you want to come back next week, I would really love that. Because otherwise I end up getting like, I have to set boundaries. So that way I can kind of go do family things too in the evening on Sundays, get ready for school on Monday. But please come back. I would really love that. Who's Naif? Naif? What's your, I don't know what your screen name is. So, oh, that's you. Okay, I'll do your reading for you. One question really quick. But then from now on out, if you see me on the general stuff, then I'm not doing any more personal readings. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not. So if I'm already answering like general, like what's going on in the world or whatever, I'm at the point where I'm not doing personal readings. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you can subscribe to my emails. I'm going to be, because I'm working with, don't apologize, please. You're not a bad person. I don't, I just, I just want people to follow rules, but you didn't know it. So it's okay. So, just ask your question quick. I'll answer it. And then, but I'm not doing any other personal readings. I'm going to be doing more. I'm working with this person with marketing who's going to help me set up a plan and be more active on across all platforms. She said she'll help me make it fun and easy. So stay tuned. Oh, it's okay. Just ask me your question. Don't worry. Don't no need to keep apologizing. It's okay. Um, so I don't feel like I don't feel like the fire will get worse, KK. I feel like by Thursday it's contained. So let's see. What is that? What is that? Do you know what that fire is called? Let's Google it. California wildfire 2024. Let's look at images. Images. Okay. I just wanted to ask if I would be changing my workplace soon. Okay. Oh, you're Francis May from is this from not last week, the week before? You live in are you in Dubai, Abu Dhabi? Okay. Yes. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. I remember Saudi Arabia. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Um, so I have to say this. I feel like I don't necessarily feel like you're leaving the hospital, but I feel like maybe even as soon as 2 months, you're leaving the unit you're on. So but I don't feel like you're going to stay in acute care. I feel like you might go to like work in a clinic or like an off-site type thing where you're not, but it's still a part of the hospital system somehow. So in the United States, it would be like if there's you have two applications in other hospitals. Are they smaller or not like, because it feels like I'm in a smaller facility. You've been tapped. They've asked you to do a different position, because the feeling I get is being like I don't know that you're actually leaving the hospital system, because I feel like I'm just doing something different that's not acute care. So like maybe I work at a clinic or an offsite clinic, or maybe I work in like because I thought cath lab, but that doesn't feel right. It just feels something smaller and less ambulatory care. Yes. Oh, you're in the ambulatory care unit. I don't know. It just feels like something like I'm not in the big, I'm moving off to the side a little bit more. I'm just going to say this. I feel a shift in 2 months, but I'm not 100% sure that you're leaving the hospital you're with. I just feel like something less stressful, something that's easier. You're an acting head nurse. Okay. That's a lot, man. When I was a nurse, I was like, I don't want to have to like I don't want to join committees. I had zero interest in, charging and like like I was like, I just want to come and do my job, take care of my babies, and go home. Like that was good for me. I just feel like whatever you end up doing, it feels less stressful. But I'm seeing a change in 2 months. It's not that far out. And have you been taking care of yourself more and being kinder to yourself? There are two new big hospitals. I don't necessarily feel like it's big. I don't know. I'm happy to be wrong, but it feels like a change in 2 months. I don't feel like you're that far out from it. Keep plugging away at it. You deserve it. We went last weekend, we went horseback riding. I don't know if I told y'all this story. We went horseback riding with I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. And I have a small troop. It's my middle daughter's troop. And we went horseback riding for this badge. And one of the girls just had a hard time. She just couldn't get over her fear, didn't, really wanted to be able to get on the horse. She just couldn't get herself to get there. And she was like really being hard on herself. She didn't want to talk about it, but I was like, whatever is going on in your head, just promise that you're being kind to yourself and that you're being really gentle with yourself because you deserve that. You're a really good person. You're a really great friend. So whatever you're doing, just keep doing it because you deserve it. So even the little things matter. Sometimes the little things are the things that get you through. It's not really all the big stuff. In fact, most of the time it's the little stuff along the way. It's not all the big acts of kindness that you do for yourself or for others. It's literally just the consistency of the little stuff and showing up. Right? So giving yourself time to like sit and eat and enjoy your food, or giving yourself time to, like take a shower and not feeling you have to rush from one thing to the next. I asked because a lot of people have been leaving, like a whole unit. Oh my God. The entire unit, yeah, I don't feel like you'll be there longer. It's just, I saw 2 months and I just feel like you're for sure not going to be in the facility you're in. It just, because I feel like I'm off site for sure. I'm just not 100% that it's a different, I don't know why I'm getting it like the way I'm getting it. I don't know. Or maybe it is with another hospital, but it's like not in their main hospital. Maybe it's like they have something that's off to the side. Because I see it being a shorter building. That's the feeling I get. It's weird the way I get it. So it's not a multi-story building like, hospitals are, 9, 10, sometimes 20 floors. Texas Children's has like 2 huge towers that are 20 floors or something like that. It feels like it's 2 to 3 stories tops, but I'm leaning more towards 2. It's not a tall building. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, like I told Devery at the beginning, come back and tell us when you got it. I mean, come back anyways, just to hang out and listen, whatever, if you want, but let us know when you got it. Cause we're all cheering each other on. That's the way this community works. We all really want to support each other and energetically have each other's backs. And I'm not asking anybody to connect outside of this. I'm just saying, like, I believe, and so I hope that gets projected out, that I believe that there is no such thing as competition and there is room enough for all of us to succeed and thrive and do well. and manifest our dreams and desires. Okay, so does anybody else have any general questions? Good. We better. If anybody has any other general questions, if not, let's say good night and adieu. Hasta luego. Hasta próxima semana. Fin de semana. You're very welcome, Frances. You're welcome, Allie. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to hear about all the other changes and things leaving your life. It's a good start. Muchísimas gracias. Okay, so I'm going to say goodnight then. I hope that you all have a fabulous week, and I will see you next weekend. Good night, Tiffany. And that's it. Have a good one.